Fox, fourth quarter 36-18 advantage for Chicago. What did you see that kind of went wrong for you guys down that stretch?
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't make shots, and then just on that end, it was nothing that they were doing in particular. I mean, a whole lot of one-on-one from DeMar, and then him creating offense. Kobe White has a big game as well, but on the other end, we have to make the shots that we're given. I think we did get some good open looks, and then some late turnovers down the stretch.
De'Aaron, again, it feels like every time you guys take a couple of steps forward, you take a big one back. Does that feel like one of those steps backwards tonight for you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster for us this year. And we always talk about being consistent. And I think, first quarter, I think we were excellent. Second quarter, I just think we didn't score the ball well. But, we're still in command of this game. And then we come out, we have a great third quarter. And then we don't play well in the fourth at all. So we have to be consistent throughout a game and just throughout the entire season.
De'Aaron, can you take me through the inbound pass where you threw it out of bounds and like 30 seconds left? What was the play right there? What was supposed to happen in the action?
Yeah, it's something that we run normally. And then we had HB on, or Vooch on HB to be like that would usually be Domas, but he fouled out at the time. And I kind of didn't want to take that chance. Obviously throwing on someone that's 6'8" over someone that's 7 foot. Me and Malik just had a miscommunication. He was coming back to the corner. I was trying to throw it over the top to him, and we just didn't get the ball inbound.
Some of that late game execution, fourth quarter, and turnovers, I guess, specifically, how much of it do you feel like was kind of them pressuring compared to some of your own mistakes?
I mean, I think most of it was our mistakes. Just getting too deep into the lane. This is a team that doesn't necessarily guard the three ball well, but they do guard the paint well. 3, 4, 5 guys in the paint at a time, a lot of hands, and we were just getting too deep into the paint today, and they got their hands on a lot of balls.
De'Aaron, is there almost a feeling in some of these games like here we go again? Are you guys fighting that a little bit because of the track record, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, we did the same thing to this team earlier this year. We were up 30 and they came back. So when we had the lead, we know that this game isn't over, and they did the exact same thing, except they were able to finish this game off today. So, you look at any game, you look at the swings of a game. A lot of times one team ends up with a 15-point lead at some point. The other team probably has a 10-point lead at some point. So the game swings in a variety of ways. We just have to be able to put a full game together, and then we have to be better down the stretch if they do get it back to a close game.
Fox, kind of building off that a little bit, you talk about the swings. I know with scoring at a premium, a 14-point lead isn't what it was 5 or 10 years ago. But can you speak on that just a little bit further? Is there a way that, whether it's your team or in general, we should be looking at double-digit leads, you think, in the modern NBA, and what is a insurmountable lead versus what is very possible to come back from?
I mean, obviously with the amount of threes and how fast the game is played, leads are obviously not the same, but I wouldn't say this team shoots they shot 32 threes today, but they're not a team that shoots a bunch of threes. But when a team's able to get stops and be able to turn you over, you're pretty much always in the game, unless you're obviously down 50. Probably not coming back from that. But we have to be better executing when we do have a lead. I think we did well. In the third quarter when we got our lead, I think we were able to sustain. I think they made a run towards the end of the third quarter and kind of just leaked into the fourth quarter. But, at the end of the day, on the defensive end, we just have to buckle down and guard your guy. Most of DeMar's points were, I think it was probably mostly ISO. I don't think much was coming out of a pick and roll or him being on the opposite side with a tagger coming out to close out. There wasn't many of those. He just put his head down and he put them on his back.
Fox, I know last week, it was the week ago when you went knee to knee. Just wondering how you were feeling in your first action back, and if there was any kind of rest there.
No, I was all right. I was fine.
Thanks, everyone. And then we'll likely open the plan for Domas to come to the presser after he finishes treatment. So coach next.
Well, that shows you how quickly the momentum can swing in an NBA game. We were up 22 or something like that, and we pick up a tee, and the momentum swings the other way. But and we obviously get outscored 36-18 in the fourth. But there are a couple of areas X and O wise that we talked about before the game. We feel that they're a team that does a great job protecting the paint, and they swarm the paint. We told our guys before the game that you got to spray, because when you're catching that paint or you driving the paint, you got 2, 3, and we even showed a clip where there was 4 guys in the paint when you're catching the paint. And we had 18 turnovers for 24 points. That's probably where the game was lost in that area. Obviously, DeRozan had a big game. Kobe White had a big game. But I felt if we would have done a better job of taking care of the basketball and sprayed the ball when we hit that paint, the game would have been a lot easier for us offensively. We would have had rhythm. We would have flowed a little bit better offensively. And I think eventually guys would end up making shots. Now, you got to give them credit. They did a heck of a job defensively. But they were really good in the area that we thought that they were going to be good in, is protecting the paint. Another thing we try to tell our guys is, you can't get too deep against this team. When you dribble drive, the next guy's coming. So you almost have to half dribble drive and just push the ball ahead and let the next guy make the play or take the shot. And I thought a couple of times we got too deep in the paint. And again, the hands were coming, the bodies were coming, and they got deflections and got out and went the other way, There was a point in the game, especially in the first, where we didn't do a great job containing the dribble drive. They snap drived us and got to the rim for layups and or dunks, or they just isoed us and went by us and got to the rim for layups. And there was, I think, the first 6 or 7 minutes of the second quarter, they had 16 points in the paint. We obviously figured that out the rest of that quarter, and they had 2 points in the paint the last 5 minutes because we sat down and we did a better job of containing the dribble drive and not allowing them to get by us and get to the rim. So our ball containment wasn't good in enough stretches. Our turnovers were very, very, very costly for us tonight. And then, one of the telltale signs for us that is usually results in wins is the 50-50 balls. And there were 7 of them tonight, equal opportunity chances to get loose balls. And we came up with 2 of them. We came up with 2 50-50 balls, and that's not, as we know, that's not a good percentage when you're trying to win a ball game.
Mike, this seems to be becoming a bit of a trend at home, the blowing double-digit leads. Do you sense or notice any let-up from the guys when they get up to what might feel comfortable, but in the modern NBA with the scoring isn't as comfortable as maybe it used to be?
Yeah, in our business, obviously, that teams can go on a run or the script can flip like that, and before you know it, you're in trouble. And I'm not sure if our guys took their foot off the gas per se. I feel like we didn't do what we should have done. And that was from the beginning, of the game. Even though we had gotten a couple of leads, we were still not doing a good job of moving the basketball, and they were turning us over. And that eventually caught up with us, not just from the turnover standpoint, but when we should have moved it and gotten great looks, guys hit a couple. Now they're in rhythm, and we weren't in rhythm the entire game from the three-point line, and we missed some that we probably would have made. And so more than anything else, if we're turning the ball over and it's messing with our rhythm a little bit from the three-point line, especially late, then maybe that's the case. I know we turned down a couple of threes late in the game, and we don't ever want to turn down threes. We turn them down and try to drive the basketball, and that's not who we are. So when that ball does get sprayed to you or swung to you and you're wide open, you got to let it fly, you know.
Mike, coming off a big win on Friday, then
Yeah.
a disappointing loss tonight.
Yeah.
What's the mood in there, and what's the message?
It's the message. You know, you give Chicago credit because they won the basketball game. They did exactly what they do. They played a lot of pick and roll. They try to get downhill, but the biggest thing is they swarm that paint and they get deflections and they get out and they run, and so you give them credit because they followed their game plan. But obviously the mood, everybody's down because it was a winnable game. Even though we feel like we didn't play well, we still felt it was a winnable game. And so we felt like that we let this one slip through our fingers. And so it's tough right now. It's tough for anybody to swallow this one.
Mike, what did you make of just some of the late game execution on your guys' end, some of the self-inflicted things that might have happened in there?
Yeah, you know, it's the same thing. I thought late in the game, you know, we went small, and, you know, we went small against Minnesota. We did a nice job moving the ball. We did a great job when we're open, just letting that thing fly. And I thought tonight, again, we got too deep at times. And when we should just got off the ball, we got too deep, turning it over. And then also we had some open looks that we held on to, try to drive or try to play the dribble handoff game again as the clock's winding down. And, you know, if you pass up an open shot in this league, you will get a lot worse shot and or a turnover at the end of the day. And that's how it is. But I also think the basketball gods work the game that way, and it happened to us tonight.
Mike, late in the game, 16 seconds, 14 seconds left.
Yeah.
What was the plan there? Was there a plan to foul early, or was it to just try to get the steal before you eventually ended up fouling DeRozan?
With the 3 seconds to go. So there, if I'm recalling right, James. So there was enough time, like 14-second difference when they got the ball back or something like that, I think. And so we just wanted to try to play that one out. And I think we ended up getting the foul, or the ball went out. We fouled. Oh, so we got it late. But there was a reason why there was like a 2-second difference. I can't remember why there was a 2-second difference on it, but they adjusted the clock back down to 0.8. Yeah. So if I remember right, our whole thing is on the DeRozan thing. We wanted to try to see if we, before it got shortened, we wanted to just get a stop and or see if we can get a steal. Once it got shortened, we wanted to see if we can get a trap and then a steal foul, because I think at that time we might have had 2 timeouts maybe. I would have to go back and watch, but because we didn't want to go down 4 if we can help it. And so our whole thing was see if we can get a trap, see if we can get a steal, and then after that it was steal foul right away.
The Domas fouling out with like 3 minutes to go. How how unfortunate was that to kind of lose him over those last 3 minutes, and how much did that affect what you guys were able to do down the stretch?
I mean, it's tough. Anytime you lose, one of your top 2 players down the stretch of a ball game, it's tough, But the reality of it is, it's him fouling out at that point, didn't cost us the game. I think one of you guys said we had a few self-inflicted wounds throughout the course of the game. And not just in the fourth quarter, not just in the last 3 minutes, and so like I said, it was unfortunate. Obviously, if he and Fox can be on the floor to close a game, man, I'd take that 100 times out of 100 times. But we still had an opportunity when he fouled out, and we just didn't close the game.
I think there's been a couple games now where opposing offenses are sort of looking for certain matchups in their isolation. And how do you feel like you guys have done in executing your defense in those scenarios?
Okay, we gotta sit down and guard, especially if it's not one of their primary guys, and then DeRozan, anytime he caught on the post, we doubled him tonight. And then we started hitting him, I think, in the fourth quarter in his ISO situations, and tried to get the ball out of his hands a couple of times, and other guys made plays for him. Kobe ended up with 37, because of us doubling, and now the ball's getting swung and we're getting to him, and he's a really good shooter, a high-level shooter, and he's knocking down the right shots. But there was a stretch there that he and Io DeCinimo, they just took us off the dribble, and it's tough when you think you gotta double or hit those two guys. So we have to do a better job of trying to contain other guys besides team's main players, so that we're not running around and double teaming everybody throughout the entire ball game.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.